Hello and welcome back to Just Life. I have a very special guest on today. Her name is Jenny Craig Brown. We met through All About the Girls last year. She asked me to speak, and Jenny is one of the most incredible people I have ever met. So I'm so excited for this conversation today. But first, let's talk about life. So, Jenny, how has life been? What have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, it's been completely lovely. Thanks so much for having me. This is super exciting. It's been wonderful. We just wrapped up, I am executive director at GreatNews.Life, I should probably mention, and I am the host and founder of this cool thing called All About the Girls that you mentioned. And yeah, you're right. It's we just wrapped up the 25 season of All About the Girls, which was just a wonderful year again. And I still appreciate you being there this year and last year too, and really being a part of it and it meaning something to you. So it seems that it does, and that's exactly what we're here for. So I appreciate that as well.
You're so humble. What she has created from the ground up is just an amazing group of women. I mean, these are like some of the most amazing people I've ever met. And she has this event where like hundreds of people come and it's an empowerment event. You cry, you laugh, and it's just all these emotions. So I really want to learn how you've kind of grown that, and we'll totally get into that. But
Love
I'll,
that.
I'll share a little bit about my life lately. I gave away free gifts, which was really fun. I felt like Santa Claus at the Salpin Cub game. So
I
that was
saw
super
this.
fun.
Yes.
Yes, it was very like new, and I love hosting things. So I was
Mhm.
going in with like very open mind, and yeah, I gave away $500. I gave away a free TV and free tickets for another Salpin Cub game. And then I met
Oh my
Mark
gosh.
over with Salpin Cubs. He was fantastic. He loved that my brother's name was Wrigley. Big Cub fans. And it was just a really fun time, but it was so hot. This heat
Oh my
wave
gosh.
is
Yes.
going to kill me. It was like 91 degrees was the coolest it got during the game. And
Ooh,
we ended up leaving early because of that. And then
so
just
hot.
this week, I've been outside every day. Monday, I went down to
Oh,
Stark County Fair, check on the animals. Tuesday, I was at the beach, and yesterday I was outside again. So I love the heat, but I'm like,
yeah.
can we get back to like the 80s? Like I'm tired of the 90s.
Yeah, they keep saying like it's gonna cool down, and I'm like, is it? And especially that, like you're outside so much in the summer, just everything's outside, and so you have
I
to be out there
know.
so much. That's so intense.
Yeah, which I think I'm getting like pretty tan, so I'm happy about that. But
And
I'm like,
nothing
there's
else, you get a
nothing you
tan.
can do. Yeah, there's nothing like you can do. Like I'm
No.
outside live and you can just see the sweat pouring up my face. But I'd rather it be hot than cold because cold live shots are so hard. Like I can't talk when it's cold because my teeth are
Yeah,
chattering.
I would feel the exact same way. I can't do cold. I agree. There's just nothing you can do. Everyone's sweaty. I literally made that comment at All About the Girls, like, hey, who's not sweaty? But you're right. It's the outside. We had a team meeting outside yesterday. Like every quarter, we have a team meeting. We all come together. We kind of talk about the previous quarter and then the look ahead, what everybody can expect for the quarter ahead. And we always try to put it in a different space so that it's kind of get everybody out of the office and really get them engaged. And we had it at the park yesterday, and we had this beautiful pavilion. It's all shaded. And then after the meeting, we all got to kind of go play. Like, let's be kids. We kayaked, pedal boards, whatever. And it was so fun. But immediately you walk out from under that pavilion and you're just sweating. And I'm just talking to the team and we're hanging out and I'm just sweating and sweating. And it's just like, oh, it was same thing. I was like, I'm working on my tan. It's fine. Everything's fine. But I'm sure I look ridiculous just standing here sweating.
My great grandma used to say, women don't sweat, they glisten.
We
So I try
glow.
to
Yes.
so I can try to keep that mindset, I'm just glistening out in the sun, the
Just
glowy skin.
It's just my shine. It's what I do. I love that.
So that's my mindset. That's been my mindset all week. But yeah, it is so hot. I'm ready for it to be over. But yeah, let's talk
Mhm.
about All About the Girls because that was so recent. So
Oh
I
my
thought it
gosh.
went fantastic. Kind of
Thank you.
tell the listeners what this event is all about because this is the 10th year. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, thanks. It is crazy. I feel so kind of in awe of it all. Very humbled, I think, this year too. It was just so beautiful. So all about the girls, you're right, 10 years. We started it back when I had been with GreatNews.Life for like 2 years. And the whole premise there was and probably similar for you, when we get to, because we're outward facing, because we go out in the community so much, because we're talking and meeting so many people, I get the luxury of meeting all of these incredible women in my job every day. And so I would come back to the office and I would just say, oh my gosh, you guys, I met this person, this person. I met Cicily, or I met Dr. V, or I met Denise Keipke, or whoever it was. And this woman's so incredible. They mean so much to the community. This is what they're doing. I want to learn from them. I want them to get to know me. And I hope they want to be my friend. I'm just like kind of want to absorb all of these incredible ladies. And so we finally said, how can we give that to more than just you? Like, obviously our team, but then we want to give it to everyone. We want to give it to the whole community. And so that was kind of the brain path we took into the brainstorming of it all. And so we had it 1 year. The first year, we just said, well, let's bring some of those women that have meant that to me and have had kind of walked me through this path of this career, and let's have them come speak. And so we planned one at the Industrial Revolution. It's a bar restaurant in Valparaiso. We had one there just in the bar, and we were kind of hoping, we'll bring up some incredible women speakers, and we hope that people like it. We hope they show, and we hope they like it. And they showed. We had like 50 or so people, and that was way beyond our expectations the first year. And they liked it. And people, I think the speakers liked it. They got to tell their story a little bit, but also the community liked it. Like, it is fun learning from others and laughing from others and kind of getting to know how they made it work, or when maybe they didn't make it work, or whatever that is. And so we kept kind of having it. Okay, they liked it. Let's bring it to a more of a venue, right? So then we brought it to Sand Creek Country Club, and we grew it from there. And it grew from 175 the next year to 250 the next year to 300 the next year, and it sold out at 300 for several years in a row. And we were just so blessed, like learning every year, of course, changing everything along the way. Okay, we learned this works or this doesn't, or whatever it is. And when the pandemic hit, unfortunately, we knew we wouldn't be able to have it. We pushed it from the normal kind of May, June timeframe to September. Still couldn't have it. So in September, we instead launched the podcast. So the whole premise being that if we can't have it in person, we're going to give you guys, the community and our audience, these women, we're going to bring them to you. And so we started doing a spotlight interview on one woman per month that we kind of deep dive with. So instead of that 10-minute speech on stage, it's an hour or so podcast interview about them, how they make it work, how they do all the things. And it was really, really beautiful to see. And it worked. Same thing. People really liked it. So we continued to grow that as well and have that as well. But then in 2021, we're able to bring it back, but brought it back outdoors at the Urschel Pavilion. The premise at the time was to keep it sort of comfortable for people, because outside will make everybody a little comfortable. We can get some air moving, those sorts of things. And then we loved the venue, and it allowed us to grow a little bit more. They can potentially see, I think, 500 with tables. So we were like, okay, and we can grow along with it. And we've had, I think the max number of folks we had was 420 people. So we keep growing. And this year was our 10-year celebration. So we had a really incredible theme. Dear Me, advice you would give to a younger you. So that's kind of what our speakers spoke around or with in mind. And it's been just glorious.
Yeah. And I mean, just Great Life News too. It's just such a great organization, such a great mission. And, there needs to be more good news out there. Take it from me. But how did you get involved with them? I can't believe I've never asked you this before, but how
Oh yeah,
did
that's
you get
thanks.
here? And did you ever see yourself when you were younger being who you are today?
It's such a good question. It's so interesting. So I've been with Great News, obviously, is the umbrella company of all the life sites. So Valpo Life, Portage Life, Michiana Life, all the local. We have now 5 hyper local websites of only good news. And yeah, I've been here 12 years, and it's so interesting because no, the answer is absolutely not. I never knew. I never expected myself to be maybe as outward facing as I am now. I went to college for graphic design. I graduated with a design degree and a web design degree. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go make marketing content for people. I wanted to make ads and make flyers and help people learn through graphics. And I did that. I went to, immediately out of college, I worked at a small newspaper doing their page layout and ad design. And so when I came to this area, because my now husband lived here and I needed to move close to the guy I was dating, or closer anyway, I worked for a print shop, and I really, really expected, like, I was doing the, air quotes here, right thing, where I went to college, I got a degree, and now I'm using the degree, and, we're all done here. And the print shop was so great. They're still around, but the pace at which print world moves is fine, but it's just much slower than who I am as a person, right? I'm very hyper. And so I was kind of always a little, I don't want to say bored. That sounds so rude, but I just didn't have enough to do. I wanted to move faster. I wanted to do more. And so I took on more within that company, but, quickly found that might not be the forever fit for me. And I wanted something more and faster and growing. And I met, some folks that worked at the life sites at the time. And I just thought, man, they're great. And this place seems really cool. And then a couple months later, I had barely learned about them, but I had learned about them through these folks that I had met, and they're, of course, 10 fun things to do this weekend. Event now video. At the time, it was just an article, but it was giving me, new to the area, something to look at to say, where can I go? What can I do? I lived in Michiana for quite some time, and then moved to LaPorte County, or just under LaPorte County. So it was just this new area for me. And they had, all this stuff I could do. I was working in Valparaiso. And so I started looking at the site. So I got to know it, met these great people from an event that was on their site. And then I, months later, saw this kind of crazy job description. It was the founder, his name's Chris Malm, and he wrote it. And it was like, he was looking for a mini me. So it was like, I need someone that's kind of like me, jack of all trades, kind of master of none, that wants to come work for me. I'll teach you a ton. I'll buy your coffees, and we'll hopefully, be successful together, and you can help me grow this company. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be in sales ever, but this sounds interesting. And I don't even know what the job is, really. And I felt like I was definitely a jack of all trades person. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I could give that a little bit of a shot. And so I asked the folks that I had met that worked there, like, is this maybe a good fit for me? And Teresa was the one person's name. And she was like, honestly, I think it might be. And so I applied, and I got an interview, and I met with the CEO and his wife and their kind of admin assistant. And I met first with his wife and the admin assistant, and they were like, well, do you want to meet the CEO? And I was like, oh my goodness. I think that's a good sign. And our interview, I think, was there. I had to text my husband to make sure he knew I wasn't like missing, but our interview was like 2.5 or 3 hours long. And I loved it. I thought, Chris and I are very similar people, similar speeds, similar mindset. And so it worked really well, and it seemed like such a cool fit for me. And again, I left that interview not even knowing necessarily what I'd be doing day to day, but I just thought, I think this company is a great one for me. So I called my mom, and I kind of asked her, like, am I really going to give up my degree-based job? This is what I paid for. This is what I worked for. And she's like, well, you can always go back to it. You don't have to leave it forever if it doesn't work out, but this seems like something you're pretty passionate about. Maybe check it out. So that's what I did. That was 12, almost 13 years ago. And I've grown from, I started as an admin assistant, this mini me job. And I was the admin assistant, mini me, to the kind of part-time assistant. And I now am executive director and run the company every day. So I grew through the company through the 12 years, just in different ways. And, it started with crazy long meetings with this founder guy named Chris, who is just a ball of energy. And he would just kind of tell me, his goals, and teach me about sales, and teach me about things. And then I kind of gather it all and say, what can we act on now? And then let's go do that. And so became this kind of process. And I just learned a ton along the way and grew along the way. And it was like, hey, you seem good at that. Can you do it? Sure. I'll give it a shot. I said yes a lot, and I worked a lot. 7 to 7 for probably the first 6 months easily, lots of hours, lots of time, but it's been a really cool journey for sure.
Yeah, it's like you're the missing piece in the puzzle, you know? And you mentioned,
Yeah.
saying yes. I feel like that is so important in life because
Yep.
one big thing is just showing up. Like I saw that in college, like all the opportunities I got basically were just me showing up to events and saying hi to people. And it's incredible
Yeah.
how you can show up and that can change your life. Like just one event or one person. And I mean, you're a great example. Like you probably change all kinds of lives and you don't even realize it because you're bringing all these
Mhm.
women together and they're meeting and they're networking and, they're in from all kinds of different worlds and they're coming together. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you have stories. Have you ever met someone who changed your life like that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I would say probably the Malmans themselves, like Chris, of course, because of the mentorship and training and things that he has given me through our 12 years together. I work very close with him. I have for years. Sometimes that is the most fun thing in the world, and sometimes, you want to pull your hair out and jump out the window. But I think all in all, like they as a family, like him and his wife have taught me so much. He has taught me, like I said, all of those things about business and about putting yourself out there and building your brand and where you really can appear to do and be everywhere, and how you achieve that through, sharing content and I mean, candidly, half of it is actually being there. Like you said, you do have to show up to a lot of stuff and you have to do it a lot. And I think so. Him and his wife, Natalie's taught me a ton about, she's probably one of the most calm, patient people I've ever worked for in my whole life. And she's just a very kind, nice person. And Chris isn't mean, but she's just that overly nice person. And it's not something that I don't want brash is maybe a word. I come off maybe brash sometimes. So to have someone that comes off just so nice, it's a great thing to see and learn from. And so they have taught me, I think it did change my life, right? What they taught me here in this company changed my life from being a graphic designer every day, which was great and I loved, to being this very outward facing person that has grown and changed and learned how to grow and change probably more than I ever imagined.
And just going off of that, I know there's so much work that goes into this job, and you probably feel like you're constantly working. But I mean, the thing behind it is your passion. So, what is your why?
Oh, that's a great question. I think my why is exactly what you said before, is there are so many stories that we don't even know about of when we positively affected someone. And I think knowing that we do that here at Great News every single day, and of course at all through All About the Girls as well, like if we can positively influence one person a day, that is such an incredible impact that you will make through your time. And that's what I want to try to do. And it doesn't matter, I hope to do this forever. No matter what I do, I want to impact people. And it's really that why of I love my being is a bit servant attitude. I love to serve people. I was, server bartender most of my life going through school and college, and in my 20s, and as a second job, probably in my early 30s. And I do it now still just by who I am as a person, right? I love, having company and making the breakfast and everybody hanging out. And if I can have a party at my house where folks come into town for the whole weekend, I absolutely love it. And it's not because of course, it's always wonderful to be surrounded by great people that you love, but for me, I want to serve them. Like I want to make them food and I want to host them and I want to give them, this piece of me. And I think that ties so deeply into what we do here at Great News and through All About the Girls too, is I really do want to make sure that everyone leaves impacted. And it's not by me. I don't care if I impact anyone. These women are so incredible that you can't not be impacted by them. Right. And so, less about me impacting them, but making an impact for them. And I think that has been, truly wonderful. And it definitely become my why through time.
Yeah, and I think you're a shining example of just highlighting other people and confidence too. Like you have so much confidence, but you enlighten everyone to have confidence. And you kind of show that there's room for everyone to have their place in this world. So, I mean, talk about the women you've met throughout the years. And I mean, we've talked about the empire you've literally built from the ground up. But just talk, where do you get your confidence? And like, why is it important to share it with other people?
Um, I love that question too. I think my confidence, that's such an interesting question, that I don't even necessarily know the answer to. I think it's probably three part. One, I think when I was in high school, I was very shy, very quiet. I was like the chubby kid, kind of nerdy. And my name was Jenny Craig in the 90s, and it was very insane and a little bit traumatic. But I think in high school, through, my kind of high school sweetheart and my friends and who I kind of hung out with through those people, I kind of came into my own, and I sort of through that started becoming a little bit more confident. Not a ton, but enough to kind of get out there a little bit more and hang out with friends and kind of be a little bit more outward facing. But it still was kept probably under the radar, until older days when I just grew as a person. I met some people like Sharina Gonzalez is a great example. She was a speaker this year. I met her in my early 20s, and she has helped me just grow as far as kind of communication skills, like having the awkward conversations. She taught me days in to our friendship that I'd rather rip off the Band-Aid than kind of slowly take it off, because if you rip off the Band-Aid and have the terrible conversation now, that it's number one, usually not terrible, and number two, it's over. And so she's been an incredible person that's really impacted me and helped build that confidence. And then I think through so many instances in my life, and especially through this career here at Great News, what you find, and you probably see this too, when you get so nervous about, oh my gosh, I have to interview the mayors today, or oh my gosh, we're having Congressman Mervan to the office, and all of these things happen. What you see is there are great experiences. I love, we've had the governor in our office. We've had Mervan in our office. We've had all of these incredible, I had Secretary of States. Like, we've gotten the luxury of interviewing incredible people, men and women throughout our world. And what you kind of come out with is those people tend to be as great as you seem, but also they are also real humans. Like, I'm not going to put anyone's name on blast. This person still doesn't know this happened, I don't think. But like, for example, we had a political figure in our office for an interview, and we realized after the interview that they had ripped the seam of their pants on their hip, and they had a hole in their pants. And you're like, you know what? We're all humans. We're all the same. We're all just malleable, and we all are going to mess up and learn and have to grow and have those weird experiences. We're going to have something in our tooth or a booger in our nose or whatever it is. We're all humans. And I think that allows me to kind of just care less about about people's opinions
I
maybe.
love it. No, I love that because we're all human and,
Yeah.
we all have those experiences. We're all in this life together. And, I've interviewed some big names, politicians, athletes,
Yep.
and you realize it's not that serious. They are
Yeah.
just like us. And,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about. Like some people put these people on pedestals, but they're just everyday people. They go to the same grocery stores we do, and that's really opened my eyes throughout working in the city of Gary through reporting. I met some like huge famous people. I met Bill Clinton. I met um Darius
That's
Garland.
cute.
I've met some like huge names, and it's
Yeah.
amazing how genuine and how normal these people are. It's like, wow, you are a former president, but I can have a conversation with you about the weather.
Exactly. That's the thing, is like, it's so enlightening to see that. And it's wonderful because then you know that that former president, if he's like that, well, then this current governor is probably like that too. Or at least I can take some solace in knowing he is, right? Like, we're all just humans, and it's so lovely. And it's, I think I've, fallen in front of people. I've done all these embarrassing things, but I think what happens through those times is that you learn to grow and laugh at yourself. And if you don't take yourself too seriously, then at the end of the day, everyone's going to feel lighter and be happier. And I think that that's something, I don't know where I even learned. I think it's just from experience of all of these people. And there are like, I want to shout out all the incredible women, as you mentioned, like Dr. V is a great example. Dr. V is Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod. I want to give her full name, but she is the president of the Urban League, for example, out here in Northwest Indiana. And they cover all of kind of this region. And she is the most graceful, calm, kind people I've ever met. And so for someone like her, you're like, okay, well, we're all human, except for maybe Dr. V. She's like an angel, and I don't know how she does it, but she always comes off so polished and kind and thoughtful and put together. She always has the right thing to say. So there are those outliers. She's one that's really, I think, impacted me positively through the years. There's always those outliers where you're like, I know we're all human, but you just seem exceptional. But those are the ones that I think kind of motivate me, like to be better and to always be growing. That's something that this year I've truly, truly tried to focus on, is like, I can change to be anything I want. I can change to not be anything I don't want. And we're such malleable people. Like we can really like just decide like, hey, I'm going to not be so brash maybe, or I'm really going to try to listen more and talk less, or whatever those things are. And you can really do that. And I think that that's what people like Dr. V have either, I don't know if she taught it to me as much as she showed it to me. And that is impressive as hell.
And I think those people, it can be so intimidating meeting them, but you see what they're doing and you learn they're genuine. And for me, it kind of gives me permission, like permission to go out there and do things that I don't know that I'm even capable of doing. But I think you had another good point there too. It's your life, you create it. And like there are so many things, like I never thought I would be on TV anchoring right out of college. It's like
Yeah.
I never thought that was even possible until I am here.
Yeah. And it's so great because it's like, no one knew that, right? There's not a person in the world that's been in similar shoes that knew that was going to happen, but they got there because they did it anyway. And I think that's the biggest part, is sometimes you have to um, dive right in feet first and be okay with it. And that's real scary. I think we all do that. That's what we did. That's what I did taking this job. That's what we did as a company with All About the Girls. And then again with the podcast, and you can keep kind of reinventing what you're doing and where you're going and what you want to do. I think, sometimes we feel so stuck in whether it's I've got 2 kids, or I've been here 15 years, or I make too much money to go somewhere else. If you're not happy, and it doesn't even have to be your job, it could be literally anything. If you're not happy with your gym, if you're not happy with your job, if you're not happy with, you know, where your house, you don't like your neighborhood, you can always make change. And I think that that's just something that we always need to kind of remember. It's so easy to change for the better. It just takes a little bit of thought and effort, but that's this whole, what is the saying? It's like, if you spend 20 minutes every single day doing something, by the end of 1 year, you'll be better than 90% of the people doing that, or something like that. Like, the numbers show that it's easier than we think.
And I think a lot of people come up with these situations in their head that they think they're stuck. Like, oh, hate my job, but if I leave, I may be unemployed. And I mean, unfortunately, people get so stuck and they could even take their own lives because they have that mindset, like it's not going to get better.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we need to like throw that mindset in the garbage and just come
Mhm.
up with, you can change your life tomorrow if you want to. You just have to do it and not be afraid. And I was going to
Yes.
ask you this question. Does it ever feel like when you step out of your comfort zone, that's when things start like happening for you? Because a lot of times in my life, things will start breaking through when I do things that I'm like terrified to do.
Absolutely. Well said. You're absolutely correct. I think it was like I'm going to be corny for a minute, but it was like year 4 of All About the Girls. The theme was courage over comfort. And it was just something. And the reason we picked it as a theme is I had felt that in my soul that year was, I have to keep kind of diving out of my comfort zone. I've got this job and I'm loving it, I'm growing, but what do I need to do to take it to that next level? And then same with All About the Girls. How can we grow it? But then same with myself, like just as a person, how can I grow me? And I think that is the absolute case. If it doesn't make your stomach hurt a little bit, it probably isn't for you. And when it makes your stomach hurt for days on end, it's totally for you. And I think that's someone just told me recently. I don't remember who it was, and I'd love to give them a shout out. I think maybe it was my friend Candace, but I could be wrong. They said, did you know that excitement and fear give you the same feeling? They feel the same. So you can decide, is it excitement or is it fear? And I think that's such a lovely way to put it, because then we can just decide that it's excitement.
Yeah, no, your body actually doesn't know the difference between excitement and fear. Like
And
it's
it's like,
literally in your
well,
brain. Like you can decide.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I
Let's
I
all
always yeah,
decide.
I always think about that because, we're humans. It's human nature to get a little nervous when you talk in front of people or in front of a camera. And every time I start getting that feeling of nervousness, I repeat to myself, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to try to trick myself. And it works. It
Great
works so
idea.
good. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I'm so excited. I'm pumped. And I don't know if you remember this, but when people were asking me if I was nervous to speak at All About the Girls, I said no. Like, I'm excited. I was nervous. I just didn't want to tell myself
Well done, my friend. I did not
because it
know
tricks
that.
your
And I
brain.
love
It
that.
tricks your brain. Yeah.
I I'm working on this. Literally, I just heard that I think 2 weeks ago. It was probably maybe a little longer. I don't even remember candidly, but it was right before All About the Girls, and I flipped it on any of the speakers that came to me and said they were nervous. I was like, that's not nerves, that's
Mm-mm.
excitement. And I just flipped it and flipped it and flipped it. And then I started doing it for myself as well as it came nearer. Like, okay, now I'm getting a little nervous. We're 2 days out, and then I'm like, no, I think I'm just excited. Yeah, I've decided that
It,
I'm just
it
excited, and that's all it
works.
is. Yeah,
It
I'm
works
doing it, and
so
I think you're right.
good. I
It's
started
great.
doing it when I did theater in high school, and that's when I like kind of did an experiment on it.
Okay.
And it so works. So I do it all the time, even when I'm on air and I'm feeling like a little jittery. I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
I'm really, really excited tonight for the newscast. And I'll like put that out there, and people are like, wow, she's really excited. So people like, yeah, I trick myself, which maybe it's just illusion, but it works. So I
It
don't
does
care.
work. And it's almost like training your brain, right? I feel like it's training your brain to be the way to kind of take the path of excitement, which was the path you want. Like, okay, when I feel this way, it's this. And then you can almost train it to think that automatically. So then it thinks automatically, oh yeah, we're excited. And that's great. Like, how do we do more of that? And then we, train our body to forget about fear to, at least some extent. Don't dive off a cliff or anything, but let's, it will hurt, but
Excitement over fear. I love that tip. And
always, yes.
I mean, this is why I do this podcast. It's like sharing our life experiences and tips to help others because we're all in this together. We all are living a life
Yes.
and we need to help each other because we're better together.
Yep.
So, onto that, you have met so many incredible women. You've talked to so many incredible women. What is some advice that really stuck with you?
Yeah, that's such a good one. The theme this specific year was Dear Me. And like I said, that advice to a younger you really stuck with me in a couple areas. One of the themes throughout all of them. Can I curse on here?
Yeah,
Can I say a
sure,
cuss word?
please.
Okay. I was like
Yeah.
making sure.
Hell
So
yeah.
one of the themes, you probably picked it up too from this year, was be badass, or don't be afraid to be badass, or you are badass. And I think that stuck through for me so much. And I think that is really something we need to kind of hang on to more. Like, we are really incredible. And you guys will hear the All About the Girls podcast for July is Jillian Spees. And one of the things she just recently taught me is, I think she said it's like you have a 1 in 2 trillion chance of being born. So what a miracle are we? And we need to remember that every single day. And she's right. Like, just being here is a pretty darn big chance. So why not just love that?
Yeah.
We
Life
could
is a
just be happy for
miracle.
that. Yeah.
Like it
Yeah. So
really is.
it really is. And so that was something that I was incredibly I didn't know that. And I was just like, oh, that's so huge. And then another really great one that very recently I learned, Mary Smith, she's the COO of Four Winds Casinos. She runs the casinos. She grew up in the Pokagon tribe, now runs the casinos as the first female to be in the position. She's incredible. She's beautiful. She's so strong. She's like a little bit of awesome at everything, right? And one of the things she said in her interview, I got to interview her, I believe she is the May episode, and it's just so great. She says, one thing that she learned through time was to stop trying to mind read. And I think this is something that especially women do, where you maybe, Cicely didn't text me back. She's mad. She hates me. What did I do? I've got to figure out what I did so that I can fix it. And now I'm on some crazy rabbit hole because Cicely really just forgot to text me because I texted her when she was in a meeting, and then she'll text me in 3 days. But we have tried to mind read Cicely, even though there was no need to, or that thing that someone says to you, like, hey, someone didn't tell you good morning. And then suddenly I get anxiety about not letting someone go in front of me in the line in the like parking lot or something. And it's like, what are we doing? We're trying to mind read. That person hates me now. What? No, maybe they just have a bad day. It's okay. Everything's fine. And our goal to mind read and figure it out is hurting us.
I have had a breakthrough on that lately, so I'm gonna touch on that. But with the texting stuff, I
Please
always
do.
think of that one skit of Key and Peele, and he's texting him like, "What do you
Yes,
want to do?" And he's like, "Whatever." He's like, "Whatever," and he's like,
that's
"It's
it.
so
That's
good.
it. Yep.
It's so good."
That's
But yeah,
literally
we just assume the worst because
it.
again, human nature. And usually it's not that deep. Like that's like my whole motto. It's not that deep. But
Yes.
going back to the control thing, I've been reading Mel Robbins' new book, The Let Them Theory.
Yes.
First of all, it's so good. You got to read it. I'm almost done. I'm like the last part. But the
Okay.
last chapter was literally just talking about how we have a control problem. Like it's an epidemic. Everyone has to control everything. And when one thing falls apart, it's the end of the world, which I mean, I will admit when things don't go my way, I get mean, I get stressed, I get irritated, and I want to control things. But
Hmm.
the whole surface of let them is it's going to happen regardless. Just let them do your own thing. It's going to happen. Like that's how they feel. Let them. Let them.
Okay.
And then there's a second part to it. It's let me. So this is going to
Hmm.
happen. Let it happen. But let me react the way I want to react. So it's like really interesting because, like there are some things that are going to happen no matter what, but we can change the outcome by the way we react to it.
That's fantastic because you can't change anything else. And that's the biggest piece of it is we have to let them and we have to let us because there's literally nothing else we can do. And we're so stressed over trying and it's crazy. You're absolutely right. The control of it all is just nuts. Definitely. And I haven't read it yet, but I've heard from 17 million friends that I need to. So it's on my list. And I just think and it's not something we don't know, and it's not something we've never heard. It's something that we need to remind ourselves of consistently. And that's why I love that she's doing this because I think the movement and the idea and the sharing of it and the tattoos and all of those things are exactly what we need to just remember. Like, there's also that other, she's the Keep It Up cutie on TikTok. I can't remember her name. I think it starts with a C, but she is so cute. And her whole thing is everything's made up. Like literally, everything is made up. So nothing's that serious. Like, let's take a breather. And she always at the end of every video, she's always like, everything's made up. So nothing's that deep. Like, let's all take a breather. And also you're doing freaking awesome. Keep it up, cutie. And it's just such a like crazy strong message. That's again, this isn't rocket science, but it's a darn good message that we probably need to tell ourselves all the time. The things that go through my head, like my messaging to myself is, it's not that serious. It's we're not curing cancer and no one's going to die right here in the company. And everything's made up. Nothing matters. Like at the end of the day, if you think about those moments in your life where one thing mattered, it's usually a health scare or a medical scare or someone got in an accident. Matters in those moments is what truly matters. So what happens in those moments is everything falls to the wayside. Your work doesn't matter. Your friends don't matter. And we want those things to matter in general, and we want to care about them, but those loved ones matter. Your job does not. Your car, what kind it is, does not. How the crazy amount, having crazy amount of money in your bank account does not matter. When you really put it down to if I lost my job tomorrow, what would happen? The stuff comes out, right? Like what we really will truly care about will start coming out. And it's like, let's not think about work every second of the day. We're going to, speed to this crazy meeting because we're running late. And then we're going to be so angsty the whole time. And then we're potentially going to crash our car. Like, that's not worth it, right? Let's just understand that everything's made up. We're all humans, right? That's another great one that we mentioned earlier. We're all the humans just like one another, and we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine, and it's not that deep.
So good. I need to check out this girl. I've never heard of her. Keep It Up Cutie. I
Yeah,
need to
I
look this
keep it up,
up.
cutie. If you Google it, I'm certain the cute, and it's like I think C at like C Zany or something. I can't remember her. I think it has a Z in it. But yes, she's so lovely. I think her name is Carrie, but I don't want to mess it up. But she's just so, and literally she's just running around her what looks like her backyard and like a mostly a robe, but like she'll have some pajamas on or some sweatpants on, and then she's just like doing funny stuff like vacuuming the grass. And then she's like, "Keep it up, cutie." And you're like, "Yeah, you're right, darn it. I it's not that deep. Like, I am doing a darn good job. And you're right. I'm just tired because we do a lot of stuff and everything's going to be fine. And I think we need to have those reminders of, because we just get in these holes so often of like, we've got too much to do and we've got to do it. And then what can I do while I'm driving? And then what can I do while I get there? And if I get there 3 minutes early, I can send this. And it's just, we have a little bit too much sometimes, especially I think women, we just try to take it all on and say yes. And I think sometimes we just need to say, what's realistic? And again, and it's not that serious. Everything's made up.
I need her in my life. I'm gonna like Google her right
Yes.
after we're done with this.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's so good. Like thinking about work when you think it's like the end of the world. Like what was I thinking about? It was the end of the world at work last Wednesday. I don't know. I don't remember. But like yeah,
Yeah.
those stuff that does matter. Like you do remember that, but so many times we're like freaking out and you don't even remember why or something hurt
Yep.
your feelings. Like why was I upset? I don't even remember. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
so good. And we were talking about I kind of got off track, but
Oh yeah.
badass. There's another book. I'm a total bookworm. I don't know if I've ever shared that, but I love like self-help books. I love
Oh,
reading.
me too. Yes. Okay,
Oh,
good.
see, yes, but there's one book. It's You Are a Badass, and that's kind of
Oh.
what like it's so good. You have to read it. It's like one of my
Okay.
top books ever. It got me into like the book self-help obsession. So
Okay,
you
I
need
will
to read
definitely
it.
check
It
that
is
out.
so good. It like literally will inspire you. But back to the let them theory because that's the one I'm on right now and it's still fresh in my
Okay.
mind.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right right now is talking about friendships and how we try to control people, and she's talking about, she calls it the great scattering. So after high school, after college, everyone goes in their own direction, and everyone, and this is where I'm at in my life, and I'm sure you have similar situations too, but like some of my friends are still in college, some of them live at home with their parents, others are having kids, others are getting married, and it's just kind of like
Yeah.
every direction. And she's talking about how she gets upset about like friendships ending, and she talks about three principles that are within friendship that have to be there to like keep up the friendship, and the more relaxed friendships will last over time because they're more chill. And the three foundations were like one, proximity, so like if you're close to them, of course you're going to see them more. Two is like similar situations, like if you both are working similar jobs and have the similar schedules and don't have kids or do have kids, you're going to have that same, same way of life. And then the
Yeah.
third one, I can't remember the third one, but I'm still reading, so I don't know if I've gotten
I
there
would
yet,
I would
but
wonder if maybe it's something about like same interests, right? Like what are you
I
doing in
think
your
that's it.
pastime?
Yes, I think that is something like that. Yeah, so it's like really interesting because like
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that like I want everyone to be my friends. I click with people instantly, and I'm like, we're gonna be best friends forever, and then life happens.
Yeah.
So
Best intentions, but life is real. Yeah.
like yeah, so it's really hitting me hard. I'm like, wow, like that is so true. It's like nothing personal. Like they didn't invite me to the cookout. They probably didn't even think about it because I'm so busy and they're so busy.
Yep, absolutely. And I've seen that. You're absolutely right. I have had similar instances, and it's so funny. I had one, it was probably a year, over the last year, have had very similar with a friend. And that's exactly it. If you go through them, it's like, okay, well, we live in different cities, right? I've lived in Lafayette, I've lived in South Bend, I've lived in LaPorte, I live now just south of LaPorte, all for significant times. So I have these friends that are spread out, and now some of them have spread out. Like I have friends in South Carolina, out in Myrtle Beach, and I've got friends that now live, up north, and I've got a friend that lives in Canada. Like we're so spread out, and it is hard. And the one I did, the kind of rocky friendship I think we had for a little time, and it's great now, but I think our rockiness was caused by those three things. Number one, we live further apart. Number two, I'm married. I work a classic kind of 8 to 5, but I do a lot of events on the nights and weekends. They were not married, single, and worked a remote job where they were mostly home and didn't do a lot of the outward facing stuff. And so it was like, and then same thing, our activities. I was through this time training for a Spartan race and running and doing all of these other things that they were not currently doing. And so it was like, it's so hard if though you're up against those factors to find a common ground to even come together on. And of course, me and this friend talked it out, worked it out, literally had that conversation, and just said like, and then through those times, our friendship can change, right? Where maybe right now we're the best of friends and we hang out every day. And in 3 years, that's different. And then in 3 years again, it could come back, but you do have to have, I think you called it flexible, kind of flexible friendships where, or relaxed friendships where you can't always have the same expectations that you might have had 10 years ago for that friend, or even 5 years ago or 1 year ago. You're right. Everybody's busy and everybody's lives are changing, especially for you guys at your age.
And I think it goes back to the control. Everyone wants to control everybody and control
Yeah.
everything. And we just got to stop. We need to say, whatever happens, happens. We'll just roll with the punches.
Yeah.
But another
And
thing
where
she
you're at in your
mentioned,
life is great. And where I'm at in
yeah,
my life is also great. And that's okay that they're totally different. It doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that they're different.
exactly. And she kind of blames it on like the system we grow up in because we grow up with these friends that we've had for years if we stay in the same school system where you're in going to the same classes, you're on the same schedule, have the same lunch. And then one day graduation
Mhm.
happens and everyone is gone. Same with
And no
college.
one
You're with these
talks about
people.
that.
No
Yeah.
one talks about this.
It's
No
like
one talks about it.
in high school, it was like, well, and your parents do. I guess my parents always told me, like, Jenny Craig in the 90s, you do not, your name does not matter. It will not matter when you go to college. It will not, when you're out of high school, nothing matters anymore. And I know it's not easy to see, but like, just get through it and high school will be over. And I just thought they were crazy for saying that. They had no clue what I was going through. And different situations, but everybody goes through something like that, right? Like everybody gets teased, everybody has rough times. But they're right. Like they're literally so absolutely right. You're like, I'm telling my nieces this now, like, guys, I know it seems like this is the end of the world, but like in 4 months, none of this is gonna matter. Like none of it's gonna matter. And they, of course, I think maybe believe me more than their mom, but probably barely still, but it's true. And then all of that ends. And it's like great in some areas, but it's shocking for those friendships. And it's shocking. And nowadays, I think some people still do the whole, well, our friend group's going to IU or whatever, but it's just less common. And that's shocking. And we need to be prepped for that, I think, and kind of see, because then you're on to this second stage of your life, but then you're almost put into this, feels like you're having a midlife crisis, but you're 19 and you have no idea what the hell you're doing. And it's like, okay, I've seen people in their 50s struggle with moving across the country and finding new friends, more or less when you're 19 and you're going off to college and your whole life is changing and now you just lost all the people that would make that okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, I actually called it my quarter life crisis. And because I was
Yes.
like, and mine was a little bit different because I was entering college during COVID.
Oh
So
yeah.
no one was
Also
on
that.
campus and like everyone had masks on. You couldn't even see anyone's face. So that was a brutal time. And I think it was for like all of society, just trying to meet
Oof.
people and And I mean, my second sophomore year was completely different, but that year in
Sure.
college was weird. And I'm sure like high school was the same way. It was an
Uh,
odd time. Like sometimes I forget. I'm like, wow, we actually like went through that time where we had masks on and like there was like a
isn't that
pandemic.
crazy? I
Crazy.
can't. I just said there was just a joke on TV. Somebody was talking to a teacher and they're like, "Oh, just wait, the COVID kids are going to graduate soon." And you're like, number one, that's crazy to think about that the kids that had to go to through school will graduate soon during the pandemic will graduate soon. But also, what a great point, and also shining a probably negative light on what we did there. That was not great, and we probably need to make up for some of that lost social interaction. But yeah, it's that I couldn't, I legitimately, I was in the good news biz during the pandemic. I was here and it was crazy scary, but it was cool because within 1 week, our partners and our audience flipped to just say, well, then we're going to send you this good news. And instead of covering, 800 or 1,000 events a year, instead we covered donation meals to the frontline workers, and we covered incredible stories and, parades and cars and all of the things that people were doing instead to kind of bring joy. And that was lovely. I could not imagine being in school during that, like that of any kind, college or high school. Like that's just an experience all in its own that you should have the right way if you have it. Like not everyone needs to go to college, but if you have it, like that campus life is a full experience in itself. And so to never have it is very strange and I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, and I actually graduated high school in 2020. So
Mm.
I didn't have a graduation, I didn't have prom. Like the last day of
Wow.
school was the last day I saw like all of my classmates, and I haven't seen some since that day. Like that's wild to me.
That is wild. Because again, then it's almost more abrupt than the graduation would
I
be, right? Because
I
you
felt
don't
like
really
I didn't
have
have
that.
closure. I didn't have closure for a long
Yeah.
time. I was like, this is so weird. Like, yeah, it was
It
so
is
bizarre.
because you don't have like any of that. Like the whole premise is we're going to build up to graduation. So everybody kind of starts saying their goodbyes. Then you have the last day of school. Then you actually have the graduation. Then you have the graduation parties. And so you have this whole build up, excitement, and then kind of trickle down. So it's at least a little less abrupt. But this is like everybody go home and you're going to finish school remote and then no one will ever see anyone ever again. And you guys all carry on and hopefully
Yeah,
connect on social media.
they came on like the speaker and they were like, "Okay guys, 2 weeks for spring break and then we'll be back at school." So we're all like, "Yeah, 2 weeks of spring break." Little did we know that was the last day of school.
And how did this is such a left turn. I don't even know why I'm asking, but how did they even do like, what if you left stuff in your locker? Like, did they allow you to come clean it out? Did they just say, sorry, too bad? Like, what happened there?
I
I
think
mean,
they
this is
had a
also
day where
5 years ago.
I know, I'm trying to remember. I think they had a
Mhm.
day where you could like come get your stuff, but it was like
Okay.
blocked off, like certain people, only so many, with like the rules at the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Okay.
was
Wow.
such a bizarre time in the world.
Wild. Yeah. Wow.
I feel like I could write a whole book on just that year,
I
but
literally, somebody should just that full experience. And then similarly, we're flipping things during this pandemic timeframe of like, and now the conversations online are probably more frequent. And I can't imagine the teasing and the bullying. I literally, it's just moving to an all online is, I think, bad for everybody. We need human interaction. I love to see humans and I love, I've built a great home. I like being home. I like being at my house. But again, you need that interaction with people. It's just part of our being.
oh, it's so important. And I feel like I'm a pretty like chill person growing up. I've never really been shy. I've been kind of like the social butterfly, but because of no social interaction, I I had like extreme anxiety just for the full year of 2020, and then after the world
Yeah.
woke back up, it was gone. So that to me is like just
Interesting.
showing like yeah, it was just very interesting because I think that social interaction was missing and that's like kind of my outlet. So I don't know, but
I
such
totally
a weird
agree.
time.
I bet that's what it is. It's really a part of us and I love it. And even look at it today. Like if I woke up feeling a little anxious this morning. I woke up a little early. I had a lot on my mind and I felt a little anxious. And then I feel anxious all morning and I didn't work out. My husband leaves for work and I slept in a little bit because I was feeling a little anxious and I get up and I'm feeling a little anxious and I get to work and then the lovely Cami comes in my office and is like, "Good morning," as she always does. And I was like, "Good morning." And then by the end of that, 5-minute conversation, I feel better. Well, I don't feel better. She didn't solve a problem for me. She didn't get into my brain and diagnose me or pull anything out. So I stopped thinking about it. She just was nice. And we had a kind, calm, nice interaction. And that's what I needed. And then I went to a really awesome meeting in Portage, and that guy was so lovely and nice. And then you leave and you're like, I feel a lot better. And that's what that does for us. And I think, there's some more introverted people where maybe that won't work for them, or they need maybe a different entree, right? Like, don't go to the meeting, but maybe the interaction with that coworker is what they need. But we need some of it. And I think it's a spectrum for everybody, how much they need and what they need and who that person is for them, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but maybe I'm too much, or
No one
someone else
is.
is. Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing. So I think it's just, we need that human touch. It just makes us calm, and it makes us feel, it's that relatable side. That's what we do it all about
Yeah.
the girls. I love having people to relate to. I always want to that's why I love these women. It's like they give me something to relate to, and something about me and something about them. And it's different for every person, but that relatability is lovely. And it just makes us feel part of something.
Yeah. And I think that energy is like contagious. I think when you put positive out in the world, it'll come back to you. And when,
Absolutely.
yeah, like you said, she came in with a smile and it instantly boosted your mood. And
Yes.
yeah. So
And that's what
we're
we can
reaching
do
the
for people
end.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're reaching the end. I have one last question,
Okay.
and that is what advice would you give to your younger self? I did this
Oh my
because of
goodness.
the theme of all about the girls, of course, but I do want to know what is your advice?
Oh, that is so great. I think it is. I touched on this at All About the Girls this year, but I think because it really is near and dear and true to my feelings and my heart. I think one of the biggest piece of advice, it's two part. Can I do two part? Is that acceptable?
There's no
I
rules.
We're doing what we want here. Yeah. I think the first one would be that whole, at first do nothing, everything's made up. Those two come close to the same to me, because those are what I tell myself ongoing, to not panic in any situation. At first, I'm going to do nothing. If I get a frustrated email from a team member or a client unexpectedly, or something happens with a friend, or at first, do nothing. I'm just going to let it sit for a minute. And then I think the other side of that is, if we want change, we need to be the change. I think most of us women want to be loved, accepted, have friends, feel in a circle, feel included, feel good. I also think most of us women have probably been like, look at her shoes, or said something negative about another woman, or judged them very quickly, or, they had we tried to mind read, right? Like, then we go into this, I'm mind reading, they're mad at me, or I don't like the way that they react to that situation. I think we almost accidentally tear people down, or one another down. And it's like, we have to stop if we want that to stop. So let's always make sure that we're flipping the mirror on ourselves to say, what do I want to see in the world? Well, that's what I have to be for the world. And I think that's really
I,
important for us to do.
I love that. And I mean, back to Mel Robbins and Let Them Theory, she talks about comparing yourself to others,
Uh,
and envy and jealousy, and you know it's it's not always a good thing, but there is a good aspect to it, because when you're jealous, you can kind of back up and say, why am I jealous? And you can use that
yep.
as motivation, because she's talking about how she was comparing herself, or her friend was comparing herself to this one lady who also did interior design, and she started doing this like beautiful web page, and she's like, well, I've always wanted to do that, but she never did. So she was jealous, and she was like spewing out her insecurities onto the other person. And she's like, hold up, why am I jealous? I could be doing this website too. And that
Yeah.
person had to do that to give her motivation to do it. And that's why every time
Yeah.
I like catch myself, like maybe, I mean, and again, we're human, we get jealous. It's a natural thing. But like, whenever
Absolutely.
I try, like, I catch myself feeling jealous, I like say, well, why don't you do it? No one's stopping you from going to go to Greece. No one is stopping you
Yeah.
from buying that bag. Like,
Yes.
do it.
Amen. You're absolutely right. That's it. And that's it. Like we have to flip that thinking when we're going to have it. It's natural in our being to be competitive because we have to survive. So when we get jealous in those moments, if we can recognize it and not give it to that person, not put it out in the world, but then rectify it internally, that is the win. Absolutely. You're seeing
Absolutely.
wise beyond your ears, my friend. That Mel
All
Robbins is
right.
teaching us stuff. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
I love her. She's fantastic. But that is all the questions I had for you. I'm going to give you a little moment. Would you like to say anything? And also, what is going on next?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. This has been a blast. So I appreciate what you're doing here. I think you're absolutely right. The goal and the mission with your podcast is wonderful, and please keep doing it. And I just hope that everyone really takes to heart what our mission is with All About the Girls and here at Great News with spreading positivity and come, if nothing else, like our pages, follow us on social media, come see us. Like this company is rad. I love everything about it. All About the Girls is just this arm that I get to do every day, and I'm living a dream. So please come find me on social, connect with me. I really do want to be friends with all of these humans. I'm not joking. So find me on social, connect with me. And I think that's it. And then next, oh my goodness. We have some we're doing our Good Life Awards. That's Great News' next event this year. I'm training for a half marathon in October. And then I leave the weekend after I think 2 weekends after the half marathon in October, I leave for Italy or for Ireland. So we're doing Ireland, Scotland for I think 10 or 12 days in October as well.
Oh,
So
you are going to love it. Are you going to Dublin then?
I am. So we're doing Dublin, and then we're our stay in Ireland is kind of outskirts on the west side of the country, and then we are in Edinburgh and outskirts as well in Scotland.
So cool. Well, I absolutely loved Ireland when I went. So if you need any recs or anything, let me
Yes.
know. It was
Okay, I'm hitting you
amazing.
up.
You're going to love it. But
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited for what you're doing. I love watching you grow. You have been, from the moment I met you, obviously I had you on as a speaker, like immediately, just you have grown. You grew fast, as you said, like you're reporting right out. You're doing amazing things. So keep it up. I'm excited to watch you. You're going to be a rock star.
Thank you. So are you. All right. Okay, closing another chapter of Just Life. Stay tuned for more stories, more lessons, and more life.